we saw people's attitude towards democracy continuously declining because they thought politicians didn't care about democracy. Nigerian elections were continually a joke. I participated in them as a presidential candidate. I've engaged foreign observers. I spoke with President Carter after the 1999 elections. And like I said, he was tongue-tied. He didn't know what to say. And for many years, President Carter, of course, is aging now, just wrote of Nigeria, would not come to Nigeria because of his experience in Nigerian elections. The one I participated in 2007 as a presidential candidate, I ran with General Buhari and Atiku Abubakar. And in the aftermath of that election, three of us held press conferences, joint press conferences. And I recall conversations with them, Madeleine Albright, former U.S. Secretary of State, and former Canadian Prime Minister Paul Martin. And they were stunned that we could call what we had in Nigeria a democracy. But you have to find ways of saying things that don't offend. So I don't remember what they said about the election. But so the fact that the elections have been deteriorating had led many Nigerians to giving up on democracy, accepting elections as coup d'etats that civilians carry out. And if you read Ronsiman, and even better still, if you read Levitsky and Ziblatt, who wrote books with a similar title, I think Ronsiman's book is How Democracy Ends. Ronsiman, Ziblatt, and Levitsky and Ziblatt's book is How Democracies Die, or something like that. You will see a pattern recognized about the trajectory that even in some more developed countries, democracy is traveling, and the things that need to be done to save that democracy.
Right.
The movement that happened last year seemed like a major effort to save Nigeria's democracy. And that's why those people got interested in politics. And then what happened. However, a takeaway from it is that the consciousness that has been raised by their becoming involved may impact how they react, especially given how this process is resolved. It may play either way, that they write the whole thing off, or that they say, okay, it's possible when you raise your voice that something can happen. The factors at play. Thought leadership is a very important thing in this kind of thing. I was recently watching Professor Osita Obu's TED Talk from out of Enugu, I believe, when he talks about intellectual freedom fighters and worries about the African intellectual who, for a variety of reasons, just accepts what is sent down from Washington and all of that. He wants to survive and stuff. Africa needs intellectuals who can provide thought leadership on what will save Africa. If thought leaders really come out and provide appropriate leadership, we may have a rethinking or a reinvention of African democracy. And so that can be one outcome. And the outcome to be whipped from the courts. I mean, people have different views about whether the courts can be taken seriously or not taken seriously. Africans need to begin to rebuild their institutions. If you look at all the conversations around how human progress takes place, a variety of things are thrown up, but two very critical contending perspectives. One, progress is a function of institutions. I've talked about this for so long. I've written one book about that, on managing uncertainty. Another is values, culture. Culture shapes human progress. We carry on in Nigeria today as if values don't matter. If our political class is not a values-based political class, what we will get is collapse of the society.
Right.
And again, don't take my ideas. Read Jared Diamond's effort in the book Collapse, how human society has failed through human history. And you will see in careful study after careful study that the Nigerian political class is pushing towards failure of Nigerian society because there's a collapse of culture in Nigeria. The values that they bring to the table cannot sustain social progress. Two, our institutions are not getting strengthened. And every time we abuse our institutions and they can't push back on wrong, we push ourselves down the path of state failure.